A young man dressed in a light blue shirt and worn-out jeans walked through the campus of Ekwe City University. His eyes were frequently looking on the ground, as if searching for something. The boy had decent looks, but his clothes seemed like they hadn't been washed in ages. The black stains on his cuffs were particularly noticeable. Passing students looked at him with disdain, avoiding him like the plague. Bruno Carter seemed accustomed to these looks. With a calm expression, he headed towards a discarded water bottle by the roadside. Ring, ring. An old Nokia phone suddenly rang. Bruno quickly took out his phone and answered the call. Hello? Is this Bruno Carter, the young Master Carter? A deep, steady voice of a middle-aged man came from the other end of the phone and spoke without hurry. I'm Bruno Carter, but I'm not young Master Carter. Bruno replied, puzzled. Young Master Carter, there's an inheritance that you need to claim. Do you have time today? The middle-aged man's tone was respectful. Hey, I have inheritance to claim. Bruno chuckled, speechless. Buddy, I think you have the wrong guy. My family is all gone. I'm an orphan. Where would I get an inheritance? Young Master Carter, Bruno Carter didn't wait for the explanation and hung up the phone, shaking his head lightly. These scammers are getting really idle. I don't even have $50 on me, and they think they can trick me. Claiming I have an inheritance. My parents have been dead for years. Just then, Bruno's phone rang again. Without thinking, Bruno hit the reject button and walked towards a nearby water bottle. He was worried that if he delayed, the old man who collected recycled stuff at school might snatch it up. Snap! As Bruno bent down to pick up the bottle, a red high heel stepped on it. Instinctively, Bruno paused and looked up along the slender, beautiful leg. What he saw was a tall, sexy girl with a stunning figure. The girl had light makeup on her delicate face, wore a black tight-fitting t-shirt that perfectly outlined her chest, and a denim miniskirt that hugged her shapely hips. Her long, fair legs ended in a pair of red high heels, making her look incredibly alluring. Grace, what are you doing here? Bruno's eyes flashed with surprise when he saw the girl. The girl standing before him was none other than his girlfriend, Grace. Bruno, why are you picking up trash again? Do you really want to spend your life as a worthless trash picker? Grace's pretty face turned cold, and she scolded Bruno without any mercy, her brows furrowing deeply. Bruno opened his mouth to explain. What's there to explain? If you want to pick up trash, I can't stop you. But from today on, we're breaking up. I don't want someone like you to be a stain on my life, Grace shouted at Bruno with a look of utter disgust. Break up. Bruno froze the moment he heard Grace's words, his eyes wide with shock. Grace, you can't be serious, right? Bruno asked in a low voice, staring directly at Grace in front of him. Of course I'm serious. Do you think I'd joke with someone like you? Grace sneered. Why would you want to break up out of the blue? Bruno finally realized that Grace wasn't joking. She was dead serious. Why? Because you're broke. A poor guy who picks up trash. Grace looked down at Bruno with disdain, giving him a once-over before continuing. Bruno, did you really think I wanted to be with you forever? Take a good look at yourself. Do you think you deserve me? You can't give me what I want. Bruno stared at Grace, his eyes empty. Deep down, he had already known the reason, but he couldn't accept that his girlfriend of nearly 3 years was leaving him over money. Bruno, I'm officially telling you now that we have no relationship from this moment on. I hope you won't bother me anymore. With that, Grace turned and started to walk away. Bruno quickly stepped forward, trying to stop her, but just then, a young man emerged from behind Grace. He lifted his leg and kicked Bruno hard in the stomach. Shora. Bruno took 2 steps back, his eyes filled with shock as he looked at the young man beside Grace. Grace hooked her arm around Shora's, her voice dripping with sweetness. Bruno, this is my new boyfriend, Shora. He's better looking than you, richer than you, and knows how to have fun. Only someone like him deserves me. Bruno stared at Shora. Although Shora was average looking, he was a wealthy heir in their class. It was clear that Grace had left him for Shora because of his money. Bruno, from today on, Grace is my girlfriend. If I catch you bothering her again, I'll break your legs. Got it? Shora stepped forward, his tone arrogant as he spoke to Bruno. Bruno gritted his teeth and remained silent. He knew that Shora not only had money but also connections with some gangs. If he really offended Shora, the consequences would be disastrous. Darling, don't waste your time with this kind of person. Let's go. At that moment, Grace nestled into Shora's arms and whispered, "You little slut, can't wait to get a room with me, huh?" Shora couldn't help but chuckle. He then pulled out a few bills from his pocket and waved them in front of Bruno. "Bruno, I remember you would do anything for money, right? Here's $500. Go to the pharmacy and buy us a box of condoms. We'll need them later." Grace's eyes flashed with a hint of shyness at Shora's words, but she said nothing. Bruno's eyes burned with anger as he looked at the money in Shora's hand. He had been with Grace for over 3 years, and he hadn't even get to hold her hand, let alone gotten a room with her. But now, Grace and Shora had only been together for a few days, and they were already getting a room. And Shora had the audacity to ask him to buy them condoms, treating him as if he was nothing. By now, the area was crowded with students, all of whom were watching Bruno with expressions of disdain, as if he were the punchline of a cruel joke. After all, nothing seemed more pitiful than what had just happened. But what they didn't know was that the saddest part wasn't Shora asking Bruno to buy him condoms. It was the fact that Bruno was actually tempted by the cash in Shora's hand. If Bruno could get that money, he could finally pay his rent. "So, what's it gonna be? Are you going or not? If you don't, I'll just find someone else," Shora asked with a mocking smile. Bruno Carter hesitated for a couple of seconds, then turned his icy gaze towards Grace. "Grace, I hope you never regret your decision today." "Regret? Regret what? Regret breaking up with a poor loser like you?" Grace scoffed Shora. Taking a deep breath, Bruno didn't even think twice before turning and walking away, disappearing from everyone's sight.